Welcome to this edition of the People's Playbook. I'm really stoked today because Herman Sanchez is with us today. For those of you who don't know, many of you do know, he's the founder and the CEO of the Aslanova Group, where he actually works with a lot of different business owners, navigating, helping them make high decisions that they need to make to increase kind of where their clarity is going to be and to increase, operational complexity and clarity within the business. With more than 2 decades of experience across literally Europe, Latin America, the United States, Herman has built and scaled companies, led acquisitions and structured investments across industries, including hospitality, construction, manufacturing. There's really not a sector that he hasn't touched. His work today focuses on helping leaders bring clarity, discipline, persistence, and accountability to the moments when business decisions really carry real consequences if they're not made properly. So Herman, welcome to the show today.
Glad to be here.
Awesome to have you. So let's get right into it, because when I look at your experience and the wealth of experience that you have, you touch every sector in industry right now. I've looked at your resume and your CV and whatnot, and you're very good at actually being able to take your discipline and your accountability factors and your clarity and provide that with multiple sectors of different businesses. You've said many leaders don't need more ideas in previous conversations. They actually need more clarity. What usually creates that fog that leaders are trying to operate through?
I mean, normally leaders, I see a lot that on our clients, when they start the business start growing, they only sometimes can see how much the business they want to go. And when business start being, operational and getting bigger and sometimes even strong the business, they get the fog from making the wrong decision. They forgot what is the reason why they started this business, and shooting too many ideas, too many decisions, chasing the next one they're going to be the greatest, instead of the focus on what is the core of the business and from the beginning, what they started, and what is that idea they're going to revolutionize or going to move the business forward. That's happened a lot.
Do you often have to remind them why they started the business in the first place before they got all this kind of chaos in their world?
In our consulting company, this is the conversation how we started, actually. We started the conversation like, why is the reason that you got in the industry? Why is the reason you started this business? Because if you don't connect with that, and sometimes, I get the answer, typical answer, I started here because I want to make a lot of money. I started here because I thought it was a good idea. But I mean, it can be solvable, right? Because eventually you fall in love with it. Normally they tend to fall in love, or we help them to fall in love with the passion, what they're actually doing. But we have to look at for that perspective. If you are in an industry or doing a business that you hate, it's like it's become a job. You don't want to, this is not pay enough to run a company to be like a job will be miserable.
Yeah. Once you remind them on why they started this in the first place, is there ever any kind of feedback to you on, I have to get back there. How do I get back there to loving this again?
Yeah, we help them to identify the reason to get connected to the company, or connected why they started or why they got into their dream. We try to help them to go in the past mentally through some of the process to help them to reconnect with the passion and go why they continue doing this basically. One thing that I always do when I help a client and I put them in the position, I tell my team, you got to put yourself in the position that you are buying this company and you're buying into this CEO. They're going to run this organization. And sometimes I got to tell them, look, if the way that you're doing things, I'll fire you right now. The good thing is, that I don't have the power to fire you, but you have the power to change things, and this is the thing that you need to start moving forward. So, but it's a very enriching one.
How do they react when you say that directly to them? When you say something that says, hey, listen, if it was up to me right now and I was buying this business, I'd fire you. What kind of feedback or what kind of reactions do you get from them when you say stuff like that?
I mean, surprisingly enough, the majority of them, they know.
Yeah.
They agree. I know. I mean, otherwise, why did the reason why be in front of them, right? They are doing everything great. They wouldn't even call me. This is more like, I know, but point me out what exactly what I'm doing wrong. It's not about doing something wrong. It's about sometimes this part of the conversation, they just forgot what was the reason they were there.
I love that. Herman, you work with owners when decisions are big and they affect people, capital, and control. What separates, in your opinion, leaders who stay steady under the pressure from those who get reactive to the pressure?
The big difference, and I know it's a simple answer, but I'm going to stand a little bit more, is the focus. Again, that focus to drive the leader who is determined to get into a solution to expand the company, to grow the company, have more clarity. Even though he don't know all the answers, it's not about having all the answers. It's about to be able to find the answers, right? So that focus helps them to make a determined decision rather than the one that are not, again, focused, concentrated in their business. They have too much going on in their head and in their life that don't allow them to actually make decisions with clarity. It's funny funny that you mentioned that because I was having a conversation this morning with my kid. We do morning meditation. My wife and my kid, we all get up at the same time around 6 o'clock in the morning and talk a little bit before they go to school and the day start. And we were talking about the resiliency and somebody determined to achieve something. It's a story I want to share with you. My wife and I, when we were dating, I was living in Spain and she was from the U.S. and we met over there and we were back and forth, long distance relationship. I used to come here every 6 months, used to go there every 6 months. And one of the trip that I was coming to visit, I mean, that was early 2009, maybe, before all the technology developed that it is now, right? Something happened. I remember something happened. My flight got delayed 24 hours. She was in the airport. Then she got come back. And at some point, we disconnected with the phone. So when I get to New York, she know that I would be landing in New York. So she had to find a phone number for the airline and get hold of me to let me know that she would be waiting for me in Chicago. So that one, even back in the day, I mean, you had no Google to Google stuff, and she don't know where to find me. She was 20 something, and she found me there. But then I said to my kid, I had to explain my kid what a payphone was.
Unbelievable, eh?
So I was telling them what is a payphone was. I remember it was a payphone in Chicago, O'Hare, obviously public payphone. And when I got out there, I didn't speak any English in the moment. And she was concerned about that. You know, speaking English, I'm not there. And I'm on my way there, but I'm not there. I need to talk to him. So she was so determined and focused. She needed to talk to me. We still don't know how she did it, but she called to that payphone.
Wow.
A payphone is not receiving calls. You're supposed to make calls.
Yeah.
So I did not know how she called to the payphone. And the crazy thing that while I was walking back and forth in the airport, try to understand what to go from here. And I heard the phone ringing.
No.
A couple times. And the phone keep ringing. And the phone keep ringing. And I'm like, no way. And something inside of me told me, pick up the phone. And nobody was looking at the phone. It was just me. I was looking at the phone and the phone keep ringing. And I'm looking at the phone. And I decided to pick up the phone. And I said, hello. And she said, baby, that's you. And I'm like, no way. How you got this?
That's crazy.
That's the focus and determination. When you decide you're going to achieve something, you don't allow anything else, no excuses to stop you. So this is our approach in business. My wife is also on our business. She's a business partner here with us. And that's the determination that drives any business. That's why I love businesses because of that. You don't know what's going to be the answer. You just have to pursue what you want to achieve. And eventually you would, but focus and the drive is very, very important. I shared that story with my kid, and I remember, I'm going to share with Jason in the podcast. So.
Yeah, your kid's going to be extremely well off based on that story and based on, I love how you start your day with some meditation. I love how you're giving positive messages on because I'm a big believer in attitude and activity, right? So attitude, we decide how our day is going to be. We can decide if it's going to be a great day or if it's going to be a not a good day. So let's decide it's going to be a great day, but then what activity do we need to do to make sure that does become a great day, right? And it sounds like you can teach some parenting classes for sure based on that story. That's a phenomenal story. When you work with teams, Herman, and teams that are growing fast, when you grow fast, sometimes that creates complexity, faster sometimes than teams can handle. What's the first cultural crack you see when organization scales too quickly?
The first thing that, especially when we come with culture, because the culture is driven by the leader.
Yeah.
The leader of the organization, they want to have to create the culture, right? As a leader, you have to be more listening than just telling people what to do. You have to listen for the team. You have to listen for what is that driving the business, how the best way to communicate between departments, and also be able to communicate to the team that argument or discussion or disagreement is have to be permitted in the company. Challenge had to be able to be created. And don't take it absolutely, I say that all the time, do not take absolutely nothing that I say personal, but make sure that our communication, you can challenge me, I can challenge you, our communication comes from a place, not of correction because you're doing something wrong, but because you and I are seeing an object, but for different angles. I can look at in a cup mark, right? From my angle, I can see the drawing this on my side, but I don't see the drawing this in the other side. You see in the drawing on the other side. So it doesn't mean that my view is wrong or yours is not valid, but we have to understand that dynamic to be able to lead an organization with different departments and different leaders in each department. That is crucial.
Yeah, I believe listening is key. And it's so nice when a leader actually understands if I actually listen more than I talk, I'll get so much more than I already have gotten, right?
Yeah, you have to listen way more than what you speak to the team for sure.
So then as a company grows, you'll see a leader often say, I think I need to hire somebody to solve all these problems and these operational things that are happening in my business right now. What leadership discipline actually needs to be built before adding people?
Before adding people, I will say for a leader that's growing an organization or already have some team, we work with individuals that already have some people at the team. I like for the business owner to understand the reason why this department have to operate in that way. And sometimes that requires them to get some hands on so that way they can feel the weight and then understand what is the type of individual they need to find to fulfill that role. I see that a lot in another organization. I need to hire this person because this person has experience leading the same team or the same type of department in other companies. But that doesn't mean that that's the right leader for your organization and for what you try to build. Sometimes these people come with ideas, and I'm not saying they're not bad, but also they come with some limitation also of how the market or how the business should be run. And especially for founders and leaders, we try to create something obviously stable, but also something new. And sometimes they come in with the mindset of the old school, that things are done always this way. It's actually not beneficial for the entire organization.
Wow. Let's just state the fact. You have traveled across many different continents doing what you do, right? If you could look back and decide, hey, what is the leadership trait that travels well across all cultures and what doesn't? So what leadership trait do you see that does well in all cultures and what one doesn't do well in all cultures?
Again, coming back to listening, the listener and the visionary.
Okay.
The leader who have a vision and listen to people and able to turn that into integration of the team, of the company, of the organization, that's the leader. It doesn't matter where they go, they always succeed. The leader who is obsessed and telling people what to do and feeding people in a mold, that's the one that it doesn't work wherever you go. It's always, it's a lot of friction or tension. It fail all the time. And I mean, I'm not been a fail. I've been there. I've been in the one, let me tell you what to do and this is exactly how I want it.
Yeah.
And then wonder why people quit.
Yeah. How young were you when you were like that, Herman, when you were that kind of leader? Because I find with leadership, we grow along the way as we learn. So how long in your leadership journey did you say, hey, this isn't working for me, I need to change?
I mean, I started my first business in the early 20s. I was 19, 20. When I started my first business, I want to say that at least the majority part of my 20s, it was my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And a lot of mistakes and bumping head and things not working and things go up and then go down really fast until I decided, I didn't decide it. The experience showed me that for me to grow, it's not the people's problem. It's me, who I'm the one that have to change and I'm the one who have to adapt. And when I understood that, it was a little bit, I had to swallow a little bit of my pride.
Yeah, it hurts a bit, right?
Right. But I realized, right, what do you really want? You want to be a catalyst for success in the organization and your country where you are or on the society that you are in, or you just want to be right because you want to be right?
Yeah.
You have to give up one of those. So I decided to give up to be right. I don't know anything. I tell people that the more I age and the more I build, the less that I know. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I love your theory on that. I'm a big believer in once you start on the journey to self-aware leadership, you'll get so much more because then you'll make your message resonate with so many more people as opposed to just, this is how it should be done. I don't want your opinion. Just do it this way. When we actually say, hey, people are different and they might have some valid advice on how we should go about that, it just makes our company thrive that much more. And as a leader, I'm a huge believer that as a leader, you're always on stage. They look if you're rolling your eyes, they look how your shoulders are, they look if you're presenting yourself properly, and they read kind of what you're thinking and what you're doing that day. So as leaders, we can't be part of the chaos. We have to be part of the solution, right?
Totally right. I heard that phrase a lot. I learned that's when I moved here to the United States. You got to fake it until you make it. It's not about faking it. It's about understanding and reading the situation in the room. Your team need to know that you are confident so you can install that confidence on them.
Absolutely.
You have to transmit that energy to your team. If your team or the company is going into a chaos or a situation, you cannot be the one panicking. I always say you have to share up, but not share down. Sometimes some things you don't have to share it right away to the team. Not because you want to hide it, but because you need to understand the situation, the complexity before you actually start taking action. And you have to remain calm all the time.
Absolutely. I spoke to one leader one time and he said, belief fuels passion and passion rarely fails. And as the leader, it's your job to create the belief. Once they believe, that'll fuel their passion. And once they are passionate about something, then they'll actually go to wherever you need them to go to get that goal, whatever that goal is at the time.
Yep, that's correct. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, I love that. With all the CEOs and C-suite and presidents you work with and founders, a lot of them pride themselves on decisiveness. Where does decisiveness become dangerous in leadership?
I'll say, and I don't know if that's why you asking, but let me say it the other way. Because I actually had a conversation with a founder today about this. He told me right away, I am an overthinker and it's hard for me to make decisions.
Okay.
So I told him, you need to pass that stage. You have to make decisions. You have to make decisions quicker and stop worrying about making the right decision. You have to make a decision and then make it right. And I even told him, it's not my quote. Don't go make this. I heard this from somebody else in Chicago last week. But that's exactly what a leader has to make sure. I mean, obviously, some decisions that you know they are bad. Obviously, you're not going to make them, right? But if you are in a position that you need to make a decision, have to be fast, you have to make it and then run with. Don't look back, run with it, and you make it right. Part of the conversation of that, if you allow me to did say this part, it was also what I was talking with other founder in that meeting. It is really hard to make a good decision when you are surrounded or you create a bad environment.
Yes.
When you surround yourself in a bad environment, they are not good decisions. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you're not going to make a good decision.
Yes.
But when you surround yourself, you're talking about the culture, right? Change the culture of your company, getting the right people, the right team. Let me use the word right for now. Then it's really, making a bad decision is really hard because you have two choices. One, they can bring the profit 30% and one, they come to bring the profit 40%. Pick one. I mean, you don't know which one is going to be the 30 or the 40, but you know that you're not losing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, really easy to make a decision there. So yeah, people overthink too much.
Yeah, I like your thought process on that. You know, it's funny. One of the things that carries through with all the great leaders that I work with and talk to is they say, don't try to figure everything out to 100% because you move too slow. If you try to figure out everything to be perfect and we wait, then the market passes us.
Mm-hmm.
But if we figure things out to 70, 80% and figure out the other 30 or 20% along the way, we keep up with the market and the pace. And at the same time, we can fix some problems along the way, but at least we're not just sitting there waiting to start. We've already got the momentum and we're actually getting to our goal a little quicker.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're talking about decisions, when leaders face high stake decisions that they need to make, what questions should they be asking themselves that they usually avoid?
I put myself in the mindset when I work with the business owner. Obviously, I run my own organization. I have all the different business that I have people managing, things like that. I always put myself in the position of, is this decision that I'm about to make, first of all, it's going to sound crazy, but I really think about this because of the country that I grew up, Dominican Republic. It was very dangerous, crazy stuff. Somebody's going to die because I made the decision. And 99% of the answer is no. Nobody's going to die, right?
Yeah.
If this decision going to transform the organization in a way this will be sustainable over time, or this is a decision that is only for a year or two or a few months. So as you peel off and make yourself those questions and peel off those answers, you realize that, a few decisions that you're going to make will really affect the organization for probably the next 40 years. Most likely you're going to make a decision that will be for a season or 2-3 years, maybe 5 at most. You got time to curate them, to make it right, again, to change and pivot. That's the mindset that I adopt. And I told the leaders of organizations, CEOs that I work with, that's how you have to think to, at the time to become to make a decision. And you have to transfer that to your leader in your organization too. You don't want them to depend on you to make this type of decision and this level. You have to be able to train them to make those type of decision also.
Wow. What a phenomenal answer, Herman. Let's build on that a bit. So if I'm a leader now, and I'm within on my leadership team, and my leadership team is misaligned, where does that misalignment usually start? Is it me as the leader, or is it the clarity, is it the focus? When you work with organizations, where do you find the leadership team misalignment usually starts?
Misalignment start, the way we identify that, when I come to an organization and I find that in misalignment, the leader normally think that everything is fine because they listen to me or they do what I told them to do. And then you separate them from the leader. It's a common theme that the whole team point to the leader.
Yes.
And the leader point to the team. And then I said, look, you have 10 people here and you are one. The 10 of them point to you, but you're the only one pointed to them.
How do you have that direct conversation with them? What do you say in that situation where all fingers are pointed at them and they're not aware it's them, they're pointing to the leadership? Well, what do you say? How do you deal with that?
Well, before I engage in working with them in the company, before we go in engagement agreement with our consulting companies, I tell them, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. If you have any problem with that or you cannot change, you get fired. I'm not going to work with you. because I'm here to help your organization, because my belief in your organization is that you are a provider of employment for this individual who provide to their family. If you have no interest in to change or adapt, I can help you. So I can be myself. I can be bold and tell them, hey, as a leader in an organization, the boss start with you. So you are that one they have to look all the time. What is not that I'm not saying? What is not that I'm communicating? That my team don't have a clear picture of what is the objective of their organization. It's not that they don't understand it in some cases, but normally 99% of the time, it's not that I understand it. It's my way of communicating to the team the real objective, the real focus of the organization. That's my job.
I think it's so powerful when a leader says, I don't know.
My favorite thing to say.
When a leader says to their leadership team and says, I don't know, I think that is when you show humility and you're a humble leader and you just say, hey, I can find out for you, but I don't know that answer. I think your team actually respects you so much more as a leader when you say something like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to come back to the part of the chaos, how you remain calm, I don't want people to think that, well, you're going to say, well, I don't know. Everybody, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I don't know. No, you don't say that. You just calm yourself and say, you know what? That's a great question. I don't know. Let's find out. What happens if we do this? And what happens if you do X? Yeah, let's find out together and find it out with the team, and they will bring you the answer. That's the cool thing about it, that they will bring you. They know it. They just need to be coach and guide to extract the answer, and they're going to bring it to you. They'll find it. That's why you hire people. They know what to do.
Speaking about hiring people, and you're excellent at what you do, you don't just talk to leaders about it. You actually lead them through the execution, not just the strategy, which is phenomenal because a lot of people don't do that. What does real leadership accountability look like once the plan is in motion that you've set out for them?
When the plan is in motion and we execute our part and the organization is hitting the goal and metric how they need to hit, alongside with us, we pick individual people within organization, not necessarily the leader. Within an organization, they're going to help the leader to carry out the phases of the plan once we are out. Our job is not to stay in your company and do everything for you. Our job is to find the individual within your organization that can do this. If the organization is underemployed or need more people or need a specific trade in the individual that you don't have in your organization, we're going to help to find those and put those individuals in place and get them ready to fulfill the plan. Because the plan that we create is not for 3 months or a year. We're talking about 5-10 years of the organization. And you don't want me to stay with you, trust me, for that long. We want to be here and get, hey, Herman, something's happening, don't break down. Okay, let's go, let's look what happened. But we want to build a team, make sure that they are confident, that they all follow what is the plan that you agree with us. Then we back off and your team take it from there.
Don't you ever find, too, that it's not always the founder or the CEO that needs to implement the plan? Sometimes they're the innovator and the person that's about agility, but it's somebody else on their team that should implement because they're a little more focused than they are sometimes. Do you find that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the good CEOs out there, their trait are, at least for the one that are more like me and I like to work with, they are more visionary and they can storytell. They can see it, but they're not necessarily the one capable to execute it. That's the one to get really far. The CEO who are capable also to execute, they have to sacrifice. That's what I tell you. You have to sacrifice the execution part to be able to drive the team, because you cannot be single out in one specific position. Then you become a funnel in that position, and then you forget about nurturing the other ones, the other part of the organization. So you have to be the driver and let everybody else to do the part of the team. It's like a coach, right? Like a coach of a team.
Yeah.
The coach of the team is coaching, is guiding the team, but he's not go there and move the ball too.
Yeah, exactly. He leads, but he doesn't play. Herman, I've got 2 questions left for you just because you've been so generous with your time today. The first question is, because you've worked with so many people, when a leader works with you during a difficult phase of growth, what shift in their thinking usually unlocks the biggest breakthrough?
It's 2 things. They normally come to me because the common denominator of the organization is something that is off, is not working properly. They're not getting there, or they want to get to a place they don't know how to get there. Sometimes they don't feel confident. That's the bottom line. They're confident either with themselves or with their team, or they want to go to a place that they've never been before. So my job and what we help is identify which, normally is both, but which one is the one affecting the most in the moment. If the leader don't have the confidence to lead the team, the organization, we have to build up right away and make sure that the trust within the team in the leader is restored again. And then getting them to a place where they've never been before again, is go with accountability in the reliance that the team, instead, even if anybody been there before, they can make it or find somebody that who already been there or be able to have the capacity to get there. So it is a lot of work. It is a lot of mindset that have to be reshift and refocused. But I've seen it being done every day. It's possible.
Really interesting. Last question, just based on you working with so many founders, leaders, C-suite, et cetera. If you were looking at the younger generation today and you were saying, hey, I want to give you one piece of advice on leadership and just how to get there and become a great leader, what piece of advice would you give that young person?
I'll say the same thing that I said to my kid. And I think it was a conversation about this morning. Be focused and chase that thing that you want to achieve with all your heart, with all your mind, with all of it. Just one thing, just go after it. And nobody will be able to stop you.
Wow. Herman, I got to tell you, you're very inspirational. I am so glad we met and we've had conversations along the way. I'm going to lean on you for some stuff as well, but outstanding conversation. And I thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun.
It's been really fun. If you loved that session and that conversation as much as I did, would love to have you join our People Playbook community in the link below.